Blessed be my kindred. I'm going to talk to you today about making a wand. It's important how you go about doing it, and especially if you plan on it being effective in any way. Now, I have what will soon be my wand that I got just the other night. Now, how you go about doing this is important. Oh, I have a little friend here. You're just going to get mashed if you stay on my hand. There we go. Sorry about that. I had a hitchhiker. So the wand. Last night we had a very strong rainstorm. It blew a few branches over in my property. Didn't hit anything, thankfully, because they were rather large, but it was strong. And so I decided that it was a good night to go out and search for what could be my first wand. So choose times like that seem right to you, that seem spiritual, that maybe the divine is reaching out to you and offering things to you. And when I mean offering, I mean you don't want to go over to a tree and just take what you want. It needs to be given to you. And so what the tree has decided to give is what has decided to let go. And you will find what you need on the ground. Don't pull it from the tree. So that's what I mean by the storm being a sign of a time to go and see what the trees have left for me. So I went to a local cemetery. I decided that would be a good place to look. And there's a great oak there. I can't wrap my arms around it. I think 3 people chain linked together would probably get around this tree. It's massive. And so I searched around it to see what it had decided to leave for me. And so I found this, which I think is just the most perfect piece. Very straight. As you can see, it's impressive, actually. It's unusually straight. It's beautiful. And so I'm very happy with it. So I made sure that I made it known. I put my hands on the trunk to feel it and use my energy and put that into it. And I rested my forehead to touch the tree. So it's mind to mind, spirit to spirit, energy to energy, just free flowing. And thanked it for what it gave me and asked it to bless it. I told it my intentions and that I had wanted to use its limb as an extension of my own limb, and if it would please bless it and give me its borrowed power so that I can do good things. And I just said a light prayer, which is all you really need to do. For it to work, you have to believe in it. It's a lot like saying you're sorry. You have to really, really be sorry for it to be effective. It's not about the words. It's about the meaning, how you feel about it. So it doesn't matter exactly what you say. It's how you say it and that you mean it. Say it with meaning. And that makes it meaningful and that makes it divine. So it's all about energy. That's what we're talking about here. It's energy. Energy put into something so that it can be taken back out and used. And that's all it really is. And I didn't feel that my energy alone was enough, that I needed the help and the assistance of the natural world, which is the great oak. With its wisdom and with its natural power, I felt I needed its help. And so I asked for it. And that's all you're really doing. When we talk about making a wand, we have to talk about the divine, because without that, all you have is a stick, unfortunately. A well-crafted stick, but a stick nonetheless. And so it doesn't do you much good as far as magic goes. So here is my thought. Take it or leave it. It's your choice. The divine, I'm calling it, is pure energy. Now, Einstein defines energy as neither created nor destroyed. And so it is the only thing that is from everlasting to everlasting, if that rings a bell. Christians like to call the divine God. Many Wiccans like to call the divine the Lady or the Goddess or Mother Earth or Mother. There are many different names for the divine. But in the end, I believe that the divine is just, and I say just lightly, it's more than just, but it is, for this exercise, pure energy. And it is the source of all energy. And so being the source, energy goes to it and from it. And that's the cycle. So energy is put out into the world. And when it's taken back, it goes back to it. And then it's recycled and put back out again. How you know that you have things figured out is when everything makes sense. Before this revelation or this epiphany, a lot of things didn't make sense. And here's how I've come around to it. When you talk about energy, every living thing has it. We are just conductors. That's all we are, especially being mostly comprised of water, which is an excellent conductor. That's what we are. We're conductors of electricity, which is energy. And everything else in this world is set up that way, which is why if you really want to do powerful magic in the natural world, it's advised that you remove your shoes, because that rubber sole is not a conductor, and it will keep you from being able to channel that energy. So being very conscious and mindful of what good conductors are and how you plan on receiving that power and using it. So just a thought on that. As far as the divine goes, when you are pure energy, there's no need for having a gender. Gender is only for procreation, and so the divine has no gender. It is neither male nor female. It is comprised of everything that this world is made of, but it is this all and yet neither, if that makes any sense. No gender. Now, if it pleases you, you are welcome to assign it a gender. And my argument for that is that it is more important that you look after your, I'm going to call it faith. It has many words. Your faith, your hope, your spirituality. If it helps your spirituality to assign the divine a gender so that you can associate better with it, then I think that's okay. In fact, it must be rather necessary, because it seems that every religion has done that. It's either male or female, and it has a certain look. But in the end, all religions have the same notion of the divine. They just all call it a different name and assign it a different image. But in the end, it is the same. When it comes to ghosts and the paranormal, I believe that these are energies that are unbalanced. Be it their own fault or someone else's, they tend to carry too much negative energy. And therefore, they are not good to be reused in their form. And so they are trapped. You don't want to take something with a lot of negative energy and then recycle it by putting it back into another being. That's not a nice thing to do. Which would basically mean that you are doomed from birth. So as a notion of fairness, I think that they are not recycled. They are left as they are until they can sort it out, per se. So those souls or those energies that are left in limbo be it their own fault or someone else's. That's what I believe it really is that there's just too much of an imbalance in the energy. It's too much negative. And unless that being can cleanse it, unless they can rectify it, they can never be recycled out and put into a new body. So it's just, it wouldn't be fair for the divine to do that to someone, to give them, I guess, tainted energy. They have unfinished business, they have unfinished things, and or they're just all negative. So that makes the most sense to me as far as why you would have such a phenomena. And so everyone else born on this earth, animal, human, anything living, plants, we all have a certain degree of the two, of the positive and negative, and we're all different. We all have different concentrations. But I think that the divine sees where it reaches a point where it's just too much and says, okay, that won't pass. This needs to be rectified before it can continue in the cycle. And so I think that's what happens. So think to yourself what it means, the divine, what it really is, because you have to reach that point before you go further and creating your wand, because your wand just won't have meaning. It won't be effective. You need to be able to take the divine energy that you get and put it into something. And it's going to be storage, I suppose you could call it. You just continually put energy into it until you need it, so that you can use it in a concentrated amount, if you can think of it that way. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I'm just at a loss for one. I'm fasting today in light of the full moon, which is tonight. And so I was trying not to think of a food analogy, which was the very first one I thought of. Fasting, by the way, I think is a great activity to do when you have something like this. Amazing the extra amount of time you have when you're not bothered with cooking or cleaning or eating. Quite frankly, if I didn't have to eat, I wouldn't. I think of all the money and time I would save by not doing it. But unfortunately, my body is not just solar powered. I do require other things. So for a few days, for 2 days of the month at least, I get those hours and that money back. So anyone else who's fasting tonight in the full moon, kudos, I'm doing it with you. And clearing the mind so that I can create my wand. And so here we are. We're at the crossroad. We have thought about what the divine is, how we plan to use it, and meditate on that idea. And then through a lesser form of meditation, I'm going to craft my wand and put in as much energy as I can into it, and really focus on what it means to me, what it will be, and what it is. And then I'll get back to you and I'll show you.